Kurt McAdams with Livefire, and today I'm going to be doing some Chilean sea bass in the oven under the broiler. So I'm going to turn the broiler on to high, and I'm going to move one of the racks to about a third of the way down from the top. So we're going to go right there. We're going to let that get warmed up then. All right, we're going to start with getting the sea bass ready to go into the oven. So I got a nice big hunk of sea bass there. That's actually 2 servings. So I'm going to kind of cut it in half just to make it a little bit easier when we get down the road. Now, you want to use a sharp knife when you cut sea bass. The skin is really, really thick, hard to cut through, so that should work fine. Then I get an oven-safe dish, spray it with Pam real quick. I'm going to put the sea bass in skin side up to start with. We're actually going to flip it over halfway through. It just makes it so that the skin gets nice and crisp, and it comes off easily, because to be honest, my wife and I, neither one really like to eat that. Then I'm going to take a shallot, and we're going to chop up the shallot. Use a good sharp knife when you cut the shallot because, 1, it keeps you from crying as much, and 2, it's actually safer. When you cut with a sharp knife, you cut through instead of slipping and cutting yourself. Always a good thing to avoid. Okay, so I'm just going to take the shallot and kind of sprinkle it around the fish. It's actually a lot of shallot, so I'm going to hold back on that. I can use it for something else later. And so if you've seen any of my posts or anything, I talk about these flavor bombs I get at Costco. They're just nice cherry tomatoes. We're way off season for tomatoes, but these still have great flavor. And I'm going to put probably about 15 or 16 of these in there. I like these because they char really nicely under the broiler, and that gives them some really great flavor. Next, we're going to add some capers. Capers are kind of tricky. We're eating very healthy. No oils, no butter, no dairy at all. And these capers are packed in salt instead of oil, so I can use as many as I'd like. I kind of put them on one half of the pan though, because I like them, my wife doesn't like them as much. That's really all there is to get this ready to go in the oven. So now I'm going to open up the oven. It's getting nice and hot. Put that right there. Right under the middle of the broiler. And we're going to check back in about 10 minutes to flip it. Then we're going to let it cook about another 10 minutes after that. With our sea bass, I'm going to have some really nice fresh asparagus. Just picked it up at the market. What I like about it this time of year is it's in season pretty much, and it's nice and slender instead of the big thick ones. And I think the slender ones are a little bit better. Now, there are a couple ways you can get your asparagus ready. You got to rinse it off, of course, but then you can snap them, and they snap off where what they call the woody part starts, so you're not getting the tough, really fibrous pieces to it. You can also cut them with a knife. Yeah, that kind of knife's great for it. But with so few of these, again, this is 2 servings. It's not a problem to do this at all. And that's all there is really to preparing the asparagus. So you can see how the tomatoes are starting to char a little bit. The skin's nice and brown. We've got some really nice browning going throughout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over the fish because we want to brown the top part of that skin. Kind of tricky with these little tongs. Just going to turn it over just like that. I don't know how well that was shown, but it worked. And so I'm going to put it right back in the oven. Right into the broiler. And we're all set for another 10 minutes. Alright, to cook the asparagus, I'm going to put it over about a medium heat, medium to medium low maybe. And I'm adding some, I can't believe it's not butter into the pan. This gives it just some really good flavor. I've got about a tablespoon in there. I'm going to let that go ahead and melt a little bit. Some people like to parboil their asparagus. I actually don't. I like the crunch. If you parboil it, what you do is you put it in boiling water for about 60 to 90 seconds and then put it immediately into an ice bath. What that does is it starts the cooking process and then stops it before it gets all the way done. I like to have it a little crunchy when I have the asparagus, so I really don't like to parboil it. So what we're going to do is we're going to let these kind of sear in this pan. We want to get some color on it. It's not going to take too long. It's about, I don't know, I'm going to say 4 or 5 minutes is all it really takes to do the asparagus. I like to move it around to make sure it's coated in that little bit of, like, can't believe it's not butter that I put in here. Again, it's more for flavor than anything. Now we're just going to let it sit for a bit while the sea bass continues to cook. Alright, the fish is almost ready. I've got the asparagus just finishing up. I turned it down on a low temperature just so it wouldn't get done too much earlier than the sea bass. But if you notice, I got some nice char marks on it, but it's still nice and bright green. And that is just going to give us a nice fresh flavor along with the char. If I could do this outside on the grill, it's a rainy day today, but if I could do it out on the grill, I'd get the same thing, only even better. Alright, I just took the fish out of the oven. I'm checking the internal temperature. I'm looking for something right around 130 degrees, 125, 130, and we're right about there. Yeah. Alright, I'm starting to plate up. Asparagus on the bottom just gives it a really nice look. We'll put the sea bass kind of at an angle there. Then we've got these shallots and capers and tomatoes we're going to just put right on top. It's all great together, looks great. Presentation is part of the whole thing, so it doesn't hurt to have a nice presentation. Now we're going to add a little bit of fleur de sel salt to the whole thing. Not too much, but the finishing salt is a little bit stronger than if we'd done it earlier, and a touch of black pepper, and we're ready to go. I added a few drops of champagne vinegar to really finish off the fish, really brighten it up nice. I hope you enjoy this. If you do try it, let me know what you think.